Let's now talk to John Glazer, an editor at antiwar.com. John, thank you very much for joining us here on RT. Well, as we have been saying today, the surviving Boston attack suspect reportedly said that U.S. actions in Iraq and Afghanistan motivated him and his brother to commit this attack. What was your reaction to that?
Well, first, let's get the obvious out of the way. First of all, nothing can justify attacks on civilians. The Tsarnaev brothers, one of them is dead, but the remaining one deserves to be tried to the fullest extent of the law and, if convicted, obviously punished to the fullest extent of the law. What nothing they did was justified. It was a heinous, heinous murder. The other obvious thing we have to get out of the way is that a lot of this information is preliminary, and it possibly could change, so there might be some speculation inherent in any comments I make. The fact that they cite U.S. foreign policy as a motivating factor in their attack shouldn't be really surprising. Every attack that wasn't an FBI-hatched sting operation since 9/11 has had that component. All of these terrorists that want to attack the United States and commit heinous violence on us have in their minds some motivation of U.S. foreign policy, U.S. aggression in the Middle East, in Iraq and Afghanistan and Pakistan and Yemen, the Israel-Palestine conflict, and on and on and on. We also should probably take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. I mean, what's also been generally accepted, at least thus far, it is preliminary, but thus far, there doesn't seem to be any signs of foreign terrorist organizations. So despite the fact that they're claiming they had religious and foreign policy motivations, they didn't have ties to foreign terrorist organizations. They seem self-radicalized.
Okay. Well, John, let me just ask you here. Isn't it ironic in a sense? I mean, the U.S. went to Iraq and Afghanistan to fight terrorism. And aren't what we're seeing now sort of a backfire? And what's happening, the attacks on the U.S. soil is sort of a boomerang. I mean, it backfires on U.S. policies abroad, don't you think?
Well, yes. I mean, it was in 2006 that the CIA released a report confirming precisely what you just said, that the Iraq War was breeding deep resentment of America throughout the Muslim world. We see the evolution of AQI, or Al-Qaeda in Iraq. That was a force that was never there, but they're still there as a result of the U.S. invasion. We see a Taliban insurgency that is still very strong, and we see, Al-Qaeda type recruitment going on in both Pakistan and in Yemen, and much of it is a result of the constant bombing that the United States has been doing in that region of the world. More homegrown type terrorist attacks, or take like the underwear bomber Abdul Muttalib.
So isn't it time then to sort of like shift the attention inwards, back home, to sort of prevent the homegrown terrorism that you just mentioned, and the threat of homegrown terrorism growing, to prevent it and to sort of, shift the attention toward what's happening at home?
Well, the United States needs a more sane foreign policy, no doubt. We need to stop intervening in every corner of the planet. We need to stop aggressive wars. We need to stop propping up dictatorships in the Arab world. All of this needs to stop. But with regard to the current controversy of the Boston bombings, this does seem like more of a self-radicalized process where these individuals sort of superimposed religion and foreign policy onto what they did. But obviously, that doesn't speak to the fact that the United States has an incredibly aggressive foreign policy that has consequences in terms of blowback.
All right, John Glazer, an assistant editor at antiwar.com. Thanks very much for talking to us here on RT.